Hello, gorgeous people. How are you? I hope you've had a good end of week. It's Friday, tomorrow is Saturday, and it's June 12th. Be safe, people. Be safe. Enjoy yourselves. Use the day to rest. Um, I just wanted to come live and share something. So my name is Hajara Piton. I'm the CEO and head chandler at Owambe Candles, meaning that I'm responsible for strategy, product direction, etc. at Owambe Candles. I have a full-time job. I've been called to the Nigerian bar for about 19 years now, and I love combining both a full-time job and my entrepreneurial endeavor. I come on live on my page to share things that I think would be useful to you, will benefit you, that you'll enjoy. Hi everyone joining, that you'll enjoy, and things that I think, would be of benefit to you. One of the things that fundamental premises of my discussions is that you are your greatest asset. Your mind is your greatest asset. You have to invest in yourself, invest in changing your mind or growing your mind, expanding your mind, because once you do that, everything else in your life can change. And part of how you do that is what you learn, what you listen to, the environment you put yourself in, and sort of what you allow lie in your subconscious. So today I just want to share something that I have allowed to lie in my subconscious over the years. It's a poem called Equipment. I love it so much that my son, who is a teenager, has had this poem printed on his wardrobe since he was 8. And now that he's grown older and he's in boarding house, he actually has it in his locker in school, in class, and then on his wardrobe in the hostel. Well, that's the instruction I give. When you give the instruction, what the teenagers do is different, but that's how much I love it. And the poem is called Equipment, and it's by a guy called Edgar Guest. He was born in 1881, so it's not a new poem, but I hope you enjoy it. Equipment by Edgar Guest. Figure it out for yourself, my lad. You have all that the greatest of men have had. 2 arms, 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 eyes, and a brain to use if you would be wise. With this equipment, they all began. So start for the top and say, I can. Look them over, the wise and great. They take their food from a common plate. With similar knives and forks they use, with similar laces they tie their shoes. The world considers them brave and smart, but you have all they had when they made their start. You can triumph and come to skill. You can be great if only you will. You're well equipped for what fight you choose. You have legs and arms and a brain to use. And the man who has risen, great deeds to do, began his life with no more than you. You are the handicap you must face. You are the one who must choose your place. You must say where you want to go, how much you will study the truth to know. God has equipped you for life, but he lets you decide what you want to be. Courage must come from the soul within. The man must furnish the will to win. So figure it out for yourself, my lad. You were born with all that the great have had. With your equipment, they all began. Get hold of yourself and say, I can. That was the poem Equipment by Edgar Guest. And I just wanted to read that to you and to drop it, on this live, on this platform as we go into the weekend. One of the things that, one thing you must do if you want to be truly successful at anything, and success has to be defined by you first, right? So it's not successful at what somebody else says success should look like. But one thing you must do is to get to a point where you take 100% responsibility. If you say so, taking 100% responsibility doesn't mean if you were abused as a child, you say, oh, I take responsibility for the abuse, I caused it. No, that's not what I'm saying. You take responsibility for your outcomes. You say, okay, this happened to me. Has it happened to anybody and that person has gone on to be successful? Yes. What did they do that allowed them get there? What can I do so that I'm not limited by the things that have happened to me and I can go on to achieve the results that I want to achieve? Do you understand? Like, you have to take your own responsibility, because it's too much power to put in another person's hands. If you say the success or your ability to thrive in your own life, how you want to thrive, is in another person's hands or is according to another person's behaviors, that's absolutely, it doesn't serve you. If it doesn't serve you, leave it be. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly talk over the poem again. The poem is Equipment by Edgar Guest. And so in the first paragraph, he says, he's talking to his son and he says, you have everything that the greatest of men have had. 2 arms, 2 hands, legs. So that's their basic equipment that every human being comes with. Meaning that if you think about me, and you think about Oprah Winfrey, and we think about Bill Gates, and we think about Dangote, and we think about Femi Otedola, and we think about Einstein, and we think about Newton, they didn't come with any different. 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 legs. They came with just the same things that you and I have. So as a starting point, we're coming out on an even playing field. So the first thing to think about is, if somebody can succeed in doing this thing that I want to do, or this thing that is like what I want to do, because when you start it, you will improve it. If somebody can succeed at it, why can't you? He goes on to say, when he talks about, what they use, the plates, the knives, how they have, they're just like us. That's what the first and second paragraph is saying. And he says they have all that you have now. You have all that they had when they made their start. He says, I like this part in the third paragraph, you can triumph and come to skill. You can be great only if you will, meaning that you have to be the one that decides, am I going to be great? It has to be totally up to you. Nobody else can take that from you, and nobody else can give it to you. You decide it. And then I like the part in the next paragraph, paragraph 4, where it says you are the handicap that you must face. Sometimes, if you look at a live I did a while ago about your conditioning, sometimes you have to go back and say, how have I been conditioned? How do I naturally think about this thing? Or let's say, how do I, by virtue of my nurture, think about this thing? Because it's different. So a scenario that you would think, oh, is impossible. Like, okay, like maybe I say, oh, let's go and have a business venture. Let's buy a $1 million yacht. Between you and I, maybe if we have this conversation, we'll both laugh and, go on and do other things. But imagine that this is a conversation between, let's say, Bill Gates and somebody. The conversation is totally different. It's probably be like, oh, that level of approval is so beneath me. So, ask XX person. Do you understand? So a lot of the time, when you think that a way is right, or when you think that, something is impossible, it's actually because of your own mindset and your own experiences. And so what you have to do is actually determine intentionally the outcomes that you are looking for, and then say, okay, now I need to walk backwards. How do I get where I'm trying to get to? Assuming that what I believe or what I know or what I feel are limitations don't exist. That's the way to get around it. So he says you are the handicap that you must face, that God has equipped you, but you decide what you want to be. And he says courage must come from the soul within, the will to win. He says the man must furnish the will to win. So you have to be the one to say, I want to win. I'm going to win this. I'm going to learn the strategies. I'm going to learn the tricks. I'm going to learn, expand my mind to win. And he says you were born with all the great have had. So I'm really, really excited. I love this poem. If you talk to me twice or 3 times, you'll eventually come to the point where I say, have you read this poem? And I say, read it and consider it for yourself. So I'm going to read it one more time as I end the live, just for the people who joined late, and just because, reinforcement is repetition is reinforcement. So the poem is called Equipment by Edgar Guest. Figure it out for yourself, my lad. You have all that the greatest of men have had. 2 arms, 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 eyes, and a brain to use if you would be wise. With this equipment, they all began. So start from the top and say, I can. Look them over, the wise and great. They take their food from a common plate. And knives and forks, and similar knives and forks they use. With similar laces, they tie their shoes. The world considers them brave and smart, but you have all that they had when they made their start. You can triumph and come to skill. You can be great if only you will. You're well equipped for the fight you choose. You have legs and arms and a brain to use. And the man who has reason, great deeds to do, began his life with no more than you. You are the handicap you must face. You are the one who must choose your place. You must say where you want to go, how much you will study the truth to know. God has equipped you for life. I'm going to read that line again. God has equipped you, yes, you, for life, but he lets you decide what you want to be. Courage must come from the soul within. The man must furnish the will to win. So figure it out for yourself, my lad. You were born with all that the great have had. With your equipment, they all began. Get hold of yourself and say, I can. Equipment by Edgar Guest. Read it. If you have young ones in your life that you love, print it for them. You know, if you have friends, these are things that we should sit around and talk with our friends about. Ideas. You know, what can we do better? How can we do better? How can we increase? And you know, we should always be telling each other, you're capable, you're not limited. The thing you're trying to achieve, you really can achieve it, but how? Then you break it down and achieve the hows. I just wanted to say that to you. I wanted to read the poem to you this Friday night. I intend to go to bed early after I write in my gratitude jar. Have you guys gotten your own gratitude jars? Mine is getting fuller. Thank you for everyone who has ordered the gratitude jars. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Sometimes when you have an idea and a product, it seems like, oh, you know, it's you. It starts with you and you put it out there and you don't know how it's going to be received. But this has been very well received. So I thank you all. I'm honored to offer this product to the market. And so feel free to order yours and to order it for your friend and everyone that you know you care about. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. God is with us as a country. I just feel a need to keep saying that Nigeria will thrive. You know, if you look at God's design for Nigeria, we have people, we have water, we have resources, we have land, we have people again, we have space. Like, you can see that the intention was good. It's now up to us to make it good. So, you know, you choose, like we just read, you choose where you want to play. Do you want to be one of the ones who makes our country better just because you're here? Or do you want to be one of the ones who speaks evil and does evil about the country? You know, in which case, you know, at the end of the day, we all reap what we sow. Karma is a bad, you know, big word. Bye, people. Have a great weekend. Thank you for joining the lives. Thank you, Vent Danny. Thank you, Tiana Black. Thank you, Chika. Thank you, Adiola. Thank you, Timo Natural. Thank you, Toya C. Have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.